You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Biggest Loser After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Biggest Loser After Show.
Uh-oh. I love that McKenzie just breaks out into a dance right away. Welcome everybody to the premiere episode of season 15, The Biggest Loser. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, my name is Lauren Mendoza and I'm joined by the lovely
McKenzie Fayne.
Thanks for coming, McKenzie. So glad you
for
could
having
join me on this. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, I mean, I don't know if you're viewers of The Biggest Loser. Have you been a fan of The Biggest Loser for a while?
I haven't watched the seasons.
Not regularly,
Not
right?
regularly, but I'm a fan of it. I love
Yes.
the idea and everything, and I've got to see a lot more of it today, so that was great. But no, I'm not faithful.
Right.
Now I am.
So I just have to say, I was so excited watching this first premiere episode, and it made me realize how much I have missed Jillian, Delvette, and Bob. Phil over there is laughing at me in the corner, but I have to say, they are just so amazing, so inspiring, so I'm so excited to kick this off. So let's get started. In the very beginning of every season, we meet our contestants, and we kind of get a little glimpse into each one of their stories. This season, though, for the first time, the trainers are actually part of the casting process.
I thought that was great. I mean, I didn't really know that they didn't do that previously, but that is such a great experience to have.
Exactly. And Delvette even said it too. He was so excited to be part of it because they're the ones that are working with them day in and day out. They kind of want to be the ones to pick them.
Exactly.
And I think too, they get an idea of how committed somebody is or how passionate they might be. And a casting director might not really see what a trainer can see in somebody. You know, so I feel a little bit more confident in this team simply because they were selected by the trainers.
And their personalities have to click as well.
That's
and
true.
they'll know that, you can tell.
Yeah,
within
you
the
could
first-
tell. It was really interesting to see all the trainers sit down with a bunch of the contestants, kind of hear some of their stories. One of the ladies who we see later on, she has a major crush on Delvette, and that was such a cute
funny.
moment.
It was. She's sitting there all quiet.
Yeah.
and
And you know,
from you.
I think that really worked to her benefit because you see later on as they're actually selecting the teams, he picks her simply because she has a crush on him. Yeah, it was really cute.
I know. I would feel intimidated. If I liked if I was on it and I thought he was really cute, whatever, I'd be like, I'm really going to work really hard now.
But you probably would work even harder because
Yeah.
you thought your trainer was so hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I think so.
But
Yeah, but it was a really cute moment. And but we also commented when we were watching this how there were contestants where they're like, definitely not. And they didn't select them, obviously. And Bob was like, I hate this part of the process.
yeah.
And even, I know that you mentioned when we were watching, how do they do that? How do you not give somebody a chance? When it's a life or death situation, you can see how unhealthy somebody is. How do you not select them?
Yeah, and the reason I'm saying that, I did say that when we were watching, was because, how? They're
It's
here
true.
to help benefit themselves. They're not here because, they're on a game show, they're a bad singer, whatever it is. Just didn't understand the thought process.
Just because of what it is, because this is about your health, this is about your life. It's not about talent.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves a second chance. So how do you not give that to somebody?
Exactly.
I completely agreed with you. And I thought that was a really good point that you made when we're watching, because it's how do they say no?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to kind of hear what their thought process was. I'm thinking maybe they didn't see like motivation or real passion. Like maybe they really didn't believe that that person wanted to do it.
But then when we were talking about it, they do have to pick, you know, a certain amount of people. You know, they always have to eliminate somebody. They always have to pick people. So I guess it maybe if I was to predict, it would be that their personalities clicked or they saw something in what you're saying, motivation. And I think it's that. But that is so hard.
That's hard. That would be hard to eliminate people. So when they finally make their selection, we see the contestants come to the ranch for the very first time, which is always probably a really big moment for them. They walk down through the gates and they see
the flags.
Yeah, flags of all the past contestants. And at this time, we're still kind of learning little bits and pieces of some of the contestants. So some of the people that we hear about, one in particular was David.
Oh my gosh, heartbreaking. That's
so
all I have
heartbreaking.
To say.
Every year it's heartbreaking. Every season it's heartbreaking. So you know that that's going to happen when you start watching the show.
Oh, I can't even.
But it never ceases to surprise me what some people go through or, you know, to shock me or to move me to tears every single season. So David, he basically tells the story of waking up in the middle of the night at one moment when his wife was having a seizure.
22 years old. He was 22.
I can't even imagine.
Oh my God.
And he said that at that moment he knew life would never be the same. And his wife didn't die in that moment, but she continued to live about 10 years fighting cancer. And then he said he just cried when he talked about, you know, his wife's last breath and making this promise to her that he would take care of their 2 daughters. And he says, I'm going to make sure that happens.
And it's funny to me. Well, it's not funny, but it's, you know, you realize that it really, weight is a struggle on their lives. Like he's saying, I can't take care of them. Like I want to because of my weight and I need to lose the weight so I can take care of them for you and fulfill that promise, which is just, you know, you don't take a step back and think like weight is honestly the pounds that you have on you are just really
they can kill you
and hold you back from what you need to do in life.
Right.
And that's what he is about. And it's just,
I mean, I can imagine him thinking, you know, he wants to be there for his daughter's weddings.
Yep.
You know, he wants to be there to see them have kids. And he might not be able to do that if he doesn't take control of his own life. So he, you know, that was obviously a ridiculously sad story. We see Ruben Studdard, American Idol winner, who I loved, by the way.
Me too. I
watched that season. I voted for him. I rooted for him. So I am so excited that he's a part of this because, you know, on American Idol, you saw his talent, but you also saw like his personality on the show. And I think that's what made him so likable on American Idol is he just had this great personality. And, you know, he still has that. He's so lovable, likable, sweet.
Lovable.
I hope he sticks around
I
for
do
a long
too.
time in this
I
contestant.
mean, he is so great. He's just so positive. He just, when he's even talking to his coach and he's saying, he's just like smiling. But and the sad story about how he wants to get rid of the big in front of his name and how everybody like refers to him as big guy or big Ruben or whatever. That's, you know, that's so sad. And people don't realize that they're doing it. I mean, I know so many people that, you know, oh, that's Big Al or Big Paul, whatever, you know. And
it's a nickname. People give these nicknames to people and don't realize the effect that it can have, even on people that are small, tiny people, whatever you want to call them. You give them a nickname based on their appearance.
And what are they going to do, cry about it?
Yeah.
They have to say, you know, oh, that's me.
Yeah, they own it.
Yeah.
But maybe deep inside, they hate it. You know? Yeah. No, I love Ruben Studdard. So, and you know, we actually learn a little bit more about him later on, but he talks about how, you know, his struggle with weight has been a struggle his entire life, and kind of the health issues with sleep apnea that he went through and how he fluctuated with his personal relationships. And this is kind of all what's brought him here too.
But you know what surprises me about him is that he said he lost 100 pounds at one point on his own. That's a huge thing for somebody. And I mean, at their weight, I was saying like their pounds fall off, obviously, at the first few weeks and whatever, but he lost 100 pounds on his own. He's going to, I really feel like he's going to do great.
Yeah.
You know?
Because he knows what it takes to lose. I mean, he's, like you said, he's done it. He's lost 100 pounds already. So he knows what it takes to do that. it just seems like he's at a point right now where he needs help.
He
like
got
maybe
divorced.
Yeah.
He's living the college life, as you said, and all that.
Yeah,
so.
like he just needs another kickstart, you know, to get him right back on track. And I think anybody can probably relate to that in all sorts of situations in your life. We also we have 2 athletes
Yeah.
on the show this season. So we meet Rachel, who was a professional swimmer. She's 34. And it was really sad. You see these pictures of her at her optimal health.
So happy.
So happy. She says that now, you know, she doesn't want to go home and visit family because she's so embarrassed by the weight that she's put on. And then she also talks about how she feels like showing her weight is kind of a public admission to failing. But the one thing about her story that really stood out to me, and I just was so sad about it, and it happens so often.
Exactly what you're gonna say.
What am I gonna say?
She gave it up for a
For a
guy.
boy.
Yep, for a boy.
Kills me.
I know, but it's
kills me.
hard.
No, I don't have sympathy for that. I don't know why.
You don't?
I'm sorry. I don't. I just don't buy giving up something like that.
She didn't have somebody in her life to say, no, this is wrong. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think she had that. She needs the guidance, and
Yeah.
clearly she's, you know, self-conscious, doesn't have
Yeah,
that.
you're right.
So
that confidence to kind of stick up
Confidence.
for herself and put herself before the guy. But I don't know. I just, in my mind, I also think maybe there's a piece of her that was kind of maybe burnt out from her sport, that maybe she didn't want to continue, and maybe she uses guy as an excuse.
yeah.
You know, I mean, that could always be a part of it, but I don't buy that 100%, that
Yeah.
she gave it all up for a guy. I mean, I guess
I
it's
get-
doable.
I get
It
the
happens.
excuse thing, definitely. That
But
makes more sense.
Just makes me sad.
It
And obviously
is.
it makes her sad. That's why she's here. So, and you know what? When we see her in the first workout, she looks like she's going to be killer. So I have all the faith in her. We also meet Tanya. Tanya, I'm a little bit in love with Tanya. I just have to say it. Tanya's 40, doesn't look 40 at all.
No.
She looks amazing, I think. She's the one that we see has a crush on Velvet. That's kind of, you know, we see
She's
a little bit of her
cute.
personality right there. She's so cute.
She's really cute.
But we also learned that Tanya is there. She talks about her daughter, and she says she's there for her daughter, and that in her pregnancy, she gained 125 pounds.
Crazy.
That's a lot. I mean, you hear about women that gain 60 pounds. You hear about women that gain 70 pounds. And that's, I think, more than what you're supposed to gain. 125. That is a
Another
thin
huge-
person.
Yeah.
And she just breaks down and sobs when she talks about how her daughter's going to have to suffer for that. Her daughter was born
And
overweight.
it was her fault. and
Right,
that's
because of what
she's-
she ate. That was sad.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, David was super sad, but that was killer to
Because
me.
how do you justify that, really? How do you
Yeah.
say, like, oh, like, I couldn't have eat, you know what I mean?
You just completely blame yourself for it, and
There's nobody else.
there's nobody else. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You can't blame anybody else. But she says that her daughter's always going to have to suffer from childhood obesity
And
because of it.
diabetes.
Or sorry, yeah,
Both,
diabetes.
both.
Yes.
She said both,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaking story. So we kind of get this glimpse into all these contestants' lives, and they come in for their first workout.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what are you thinking when we're going into this first workout? They all walk in wearing shirts with their weight on it, and we see that Ruben Studdard is the heaviest
Yep.
male, and he points it out. I mean, was there anybody already going into it? Do you have any expectations, or not really? It's kind of up in the air.
That's a hard question because I don't know them that well yet.
Yeah.
But I would have to say I really think that Ruben is going to do good. I don't know why I have a feeling about him. And then David with, you know, his wife and all the hurt and everything he can put into this, I think he's going to do great.
You think he'll use that to kind of push himself?
I think he will because the coaches have so much leverage that they can use against him kind of.
Yeah.
To
you're
say,
right.
you know, you need to do this. Who are you doing this for?
Yeah.
And you know, and just keep pushing him. And it's just so easy at that point for him to be like, yes, 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 to keep going.
Well, that's what you would think, right? And then we see him actually go into the first workout, and Jillian does that. She uses that against him.
Yeah.
She's like, David, get on the treadmill and run. Run. And she like is telling him, and he's shaking his head. He's out of breath, like we see every contestant do, or at least have it every season. You see people throwing up, crying, passing out. I hate to say it, some of it's a little comical.
Yeah.
Because they're whining so bad. And Jillian just does not let down. She just doesn't bite.
I loved it.
I know, right?
I really did. I thought she was great. And the thing about it was that when you're a coach, I've played college sports, and you know, when you're a coach, you don't go at and attack your players, because what are they going to do at that point? They're adults too. Am I going to come to you as an adult and badger you with this? You know, she came to him, and she was definitely stern and talked to him the way he needed to be talked to and motivate him. But she definitely said it in a way where it was intriguing for him to be like, okay, I need to get up, you know?
She's trying to make him realize and remember why he's there. Because I think in those moments when you feel so defeated, tired, beaten down, all you want to do is quit. You don't even think about why you actually came. And I think that's where all the trainers kind of serve this purpose. They're there to remind them. And that's exactly what Jillian did. And she's like, you need to do this for your wife. You promised me. But he walks out. He walks out of the gym.
Yeah, but for some reason, I just oversee that, and I see him going really far because he has so much behind him. I really believe in him, and so does.
I hope you're right.
I
don't know, because I will say, I think Jillian in that moment, you know, she goes out there, tries to talk to him. He doesn't really respond to her, and she's like, you need to get out of here. And I loved what she said. She's like, I don't want this gym. I don't want him to come back in here and let this gym be a symbol of him being victimized. Like, I don't want this to be another part of his sob story.
This needs to be the new David.
Exactly. I love that she said that. She didn't say it to him, though. She said that to the camera. So
he needs to hear that.
He needs to hear that. Maybe she did and we didn't see it, but I love that she said that. And I was like, oh, that's so perfect. But he comes back in, right?
Okay, you know what? Now I thought of it.
Yeah.
This is why I believe in him, because, oh gosh, wait, now I'm going to jump ahead. I need to say it after because we haven't got to the
Okay, we'll
part.
continue. David will be a recurring person in this entire episode. Yeah, I mean, the first workout is really this opportunity for the trainers to kind of see who they work well with, who works well together. And they had the opportunity not only to cast these people now, but to actually work with them a little bit and then choose who they wanted on their team, which I thought was really awesome.
I want to know. I would have liked to know more of that process. You know, if they fought over anybody. How did
that would have been a good behind the scenes camera? They should have done that.
They should have. I think so.
They didn't. Yeah. But yeah, because you thought that Ruben would probably end up with, like, I don't know, not Jillian or Bob, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember who he was kind of meshing with really well.
Yeah.
But he ends up on Dalvet's team. So the
Which
first
I think is good. I think it'll be good.
Definitely. I think so too. So before we get into the actual selection of the teams, I definitely want to stop and thank all of you guys again for joining us. And for those of you who have subscribed to us on iTunes, who have commented in the past seasons, we're always listening and looking for new comments and your feedback, and continue to subscribe to us. While you're there, some of you have seen The Adventures of Serial Buddies. You have downloaded it on iTunes, but we want to let you guys know that you can also now get it on DVD. You could get it at serialbuddies.com, correct? Can you get it? Where else can you get it, Phil? Fill me in.
Target.
I love Target. And if you've got that 5% off card,
Perfect.
Score. I go there for everything. So make sure you guys get that on DVD. You know, you want to have it at home. It's a hilarious movie. By the way, my lovely co-host over here, you will see her. And if you watch Serial Buddies, then you've obviously recognized her, McKenzie. Oh my gosh. Are you embarrassed? You're a celebrity. You should have a DVD signing now.
All right, everyone. It's not that big.
So definitely go out, get your copy of The Adventures of Serial Buddies.
Oh, it's great.
It is great. And
Super
I'm so
fun.
glad you were in it. So let's get right into the team selection.
Okay.
I mean, we could kind of go down the list, but at the same time, in this premiere episode, there's a lot of contestants we don't really know much about. Like, we hear their name, Fernanda. We didn't learn anything about Fernanda.
Yeah.
So basically, let's just point out that Holley, who we didn't really talk much about, but we see her, she's the professional weightlifter, the Olympic weightlifter. Bob, you kind of knew Bob was going to pick her because he was like drooling over her from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because Bob's like a CrossFit crazy person. So he wanted her. He wasn't going to let anybody else have her. So he gets her. Like we said, Ruben goes to Dalvet, which I think is a really great pairing. And Dalvet also gets Rachel, the Olympic swimmer. And I noticed in that first workout before he picked her, he says that Rachel's going to be the one to watch this season.
Yeah, he did say that before. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, he did. He's got his eye on her, and he thinks she's going to be somebody to pay attention to this season. So we'll see about that.
I love that.
Tanya also goes with Dalvet, and I kind of think Dalvet did that not just because, not for her. I think Dalvet loves it that she has a crush on him, and he like wanted that, you know. So I thought that was kind of cute. She was all excited. I love how she goes, "You want me?" It was really cute. And Dalvet also gets David, which I think is perfect.
You do?
Yeah, I do. Did you not think so?
I didn't think about it too much, I guess.
But were you surprised? Did you think Jillian would pick him or no?
I kind of did, because when she was talking to him outside, it was more of a motherly kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know what he needs. I had this coach in soccer one year, and he was great because he just knew me, and he knew my potential and what I needed to do, and he was there to work with me, you know. And I felt that with her. I felt like she connected with him and knew what he wanted to do, and could.
And you know, you're right, because Jillian, she's the kind of person too that once she kind of makes you hers and like her project, like she is committed to you.
Yeah.
You know, so for her to invest any time in anybody, like she's all in, she's all or nothing basically. So I don't know, but I feel like, you know, Dalvet picked him, and the reason I think that's perfect, I know I was mentioning this to you, is because Jillian is so tough. She is so hard on you, and she can be compassionate at the right times, but Dalvet is different. He will be tough on you, but he is always compassionate. He's always like this motivational speaker. I love him. I love Jillian's my favorite. Anybody that watches this knows that. But
I think Dalvet's my favorite.
Really? I think he's your favorite too. You were loving him.
I love him because, like you said, he's a motivational speaker. But you always need that person on your team, the one that's going to root for you, and that's what makes you keep going. It's really, for me, it's not the tough person.
But see, that's the thing. I think that's what's interesting about the show is that different trainers work better for different people.
Exactly.
There are some people that they like that, and that's what they need, and they don't need somebody that's always going to be the shoulder to cry on or always give them these motivational words or these inspirational talks. Sometimes they just want somebody to tell them the reality of the situation. You're going to die if you don't do this. So move. There are some people that like that, and there are some people that just quit when that happens. Like they just break. And they hate it.
I think David would break.
I think so too. And I don't think Jillian, I think we could see how he wasn't really responding to her, and she wasn't really buying his, you know, motivation in that very first workout. And I just don't think they would have fit very well because of it.
Okay.
You know, whereas I think Dalvet, he's more like, I'm going to take this guy under my wing, and he will like talk him through it, you know? So I thought they were a really good pairing because of that. And then, you know, it's funny because Dalvet got a lot of these people that we really got to focus on. And Jillian kind of got, I don't want to say the weaker team, but it's true.
The
like
misfits, kind of?
Kind of the misfits. And I feel like she, in the past seasons, the white team, we always see them kind of struggle through the season oddly because she's like this crazy tough trainer, and she just creates insane results. But I just thought it was interesting. I think it was Marie maybe who was pointing out that the other two teams, they each had these athletes on it. And then, Dalvet has Ruben, who's the heaviest male. And a lot of times the heaviest males tend to do really well, and they drop a ton of weight in the very beginning. So it's interesting because she does kind of have a little bit of the misfits, but you can tell when she was actually selecting them that she really loved them. She was like, when I met you, it was love, blah, blah, blah. She had this connection that we really didn't see in the episode.
Yeah, I think we'll see more of that.
Yeah.
I'm confused about Hap. Like, is that his name?
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Okay.
At least that's what they said. That's what we got.
Yeah.
I know we didn't. That's another contestant that we really didn't get to meet. We didn't really get to see much of Fernanda, Timmy, even Marie's story. Jay, exactly.
Craig, we did.
His
father
had
his father had a heart disease, right? And he
Yeah.
died when he was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And so it's in his family.
And he has a daughter. He has a little daughter. And actually, Craig had a really interesting story, too, going back to what you're saying about just how much weight can really affect you that I don't think people realize. I don't think people associate their weight with some of the issues, some of the health issues that they have. Craig's testosterone levels were really, really low. So they had to go through in vitro fertilization to have his daughter. And this was all a result of his heavy weight. I don't know. I thought that was really, really interesting.
Absolutely.
Heartbreaking at the same time, but I mean,
It's just something that could have been prevented had you not gained all that weight.
And this process could have been easier for him. And, if that's what he had to go through for the first child, do they want to have a second baby? And if that's the case, he did?
Yep.
I totally
They're
missed that.
expecting in December. They said it really quietly, so I kind of got it. But
So did they go through in vitro for that? Do you know? Did he even say?
No, he didn't say.
Because that would be interesting,
Yeah, I would like
it's
to
an
know.
expensive process.
That's
And
what
hard
I'm saying. You're
and
paying.
difficult on people.
You're paying.
Yeah.
And then what? You get twins, triplets. Oh my gosh. Whatever. Like, thank God he didn't. I mean, not thank God, but
Well, you never know. You never know. Maybe he wanted that. I don't know.
actually, I kinda
Either
want that.
way, that's just another example of how much your weight can really affect your life
Absolutely.
in general. Then we get into, I guess, the official first workout with their teams. And we see them. We see the red team with Dalvet. He's talking to David. And I feel like in this particular workout, we really don't see a lot of what they do. It's not, first of all, this episode was only an hour, which was crazy because every season, every episode is always 2 hours. So I was stunned when this was over. But we see a little bit of the red team and we see David working out, and he really has come into the gym with a newfound motivation. And he's just like ready to kill it.
Loved it.
I know. And even Dalvet noticed it. He's like, oh, where'd you come from?
Exactly.
Like, what's this all about? And then we see a little bit of the white team. We learn a little bit about Chelsea from the white team, who's 28. And she talks about her
She
dad.
does not look 28 to me at all.
Does she look older or younger?
Yeah, she looks older, but she's beautiful. Her face
She
is
is.
gorgeous.
She kind of reminded me of like when they cut away and they show her talking to the camera. She kind of reminded me of like a pageant queen or something. Like her makeup was like
Her
kind of
little
like
flipped
perfect.
hair.
Her like perfectly flipped hair.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly what she looked like to me. But she was super sweet, and she talked about her father, who was an alcoholic around the time when she was 10. That's when he started suffering really badly. And she says that, early on in her life, she really kind of had to take a leadership role in her family. And so she never had that opportunity to really focus on herself. And she didn't have that first chance to be her best self.
That's
because
what it
of
was.
that.
Her first chance. That's what really got me in her story was that's true. When she had to take on that role of being an adult in her family, she didn't get the first chance, and she's here for her first chance. Everybody else is here for their second chance.
I love that.
I do too. It was nice.
She's really sweet. So so we met her, and we see, the white team. We see the blue team. Oh, sorry. Chelsea's on the blue team. I thought she was on the white team. She's on the blue team with Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Bob always gets really cute ones, too. Everybody's so,
I
like,
think Bob's
sweet.
cute.
Oh, Bob is way cute. Bob is a hottie. That is not even a question. Though that's a hottie. And can I just say, like, holy hotness, Jillian Michaels this season.
Right?
First of all, the trainers are always hot. Jillian, I mean, she is just killing it this season. She's gorgeous. She's always gorgeous, but every season she looks hotter. This season she lightened her hair. She just looks amazing.
She has cute, tiny little body.
Oh, she's so tiny. She's so perfect.
That was her picture in the beginning, right? The big, and then it was her little picture.
No.
Who was that?
I don't know. But she, no.
Looked just like
Jillian Michaels, though, she was bigger when she was 17. If you read her books, trust me, I do everything. In fact, I even woke up with Jillian this morning. I did one of her DVDs this morning. Got me out of bed.
Wake up with Jillian.
Wake up with Jillian. Exactly. You could get her on DVD as well. Many DVDs, and she's amazing. But yeah, she if you read her books, she was heavier at 17 and kind of got into martial arts, and that's really what kickstarted her journey into being a trainer, and she's been this way ever since. She's kind of amazing. Yes.
Kinda. She's a little great over here, guys.
Oh my God. She's my favorite person.
Ever?
Possibly.
Martin, watch out there. Martin, are you listening?
I know, right? He knows I love her. She is just amazing. And Jillian, if you're watching, Bob Delvette, I've missed you. You're so hot. All of you.
He
Jillian,
is hot. I love his scruff. Like, that's just going to kill me. His little...
You and millions of other women in this world. You have no idea. Millions of other women and men that just absolutely love him.
Can we talk about Ruben's little, what did he say?
Chester?
Everything about...
Taco meat?
No, not even that, but that was pretty good.
What?
He goes, everything about Ruben Studdard is sexy. And
Oh,
he's like,
yeah.
turning around, like, oh.
There was a very brief moment in this episode where we got to see more of Ruben's personality. I have to say, as much as I love Ruben, I hope they don't focus on him so much simply because of who he was and his popularity, beforehand. But he is so funny. He gets into the ice bath, which are horrible. I don't know why he likes those. I think they're painful.
They are painful.
They're painful.
Ugh.
He gets into one of those, and Jillian's like astounded by his back hair.
Shoulder hair.
And
she was
shoulder.
very
I think she was
adamant.
astounded by his back hair and even more astounded that it went onto his shoulders. And was like, this cannot happen.
She
this
lifted
is not
it
acceptable.
up. And, this is like 2 inches. What are you doing here?
Yes. And I loved that Ruben continued to talk about his taco meat, which I have to say I've never heard that term, and it is so perfect. Phil, have you heard that term? Taco meat?
I have.
You did?
You have? I haven't.
So you know what that is?
I've also met Jillian, so.
I don't want to talk to you.
You know this.
Silence yourself. No, I don't know the
Mute
story
your
about
mic.
you. I know
Her
that
and
she's
I-
friend with Maria, but I don't know the
Her and
story.
I hung out on July 4th,
This year?
2 years ago.
Oh, I was going to say, Phil, we were friends. How was I not invited to that? That kills me. Breaks my heart. Anyways.
Sorry, fans.
thanks.
That was a moment for me to rub
Thanks,
something in Lauren's
Phil.
face.
We were talking about taco meat here, and you had to take it there. Anyways, Ruben is hysterical. He's got the best personality, making fun of his taco meat on his chest and talking about how all the past singers used to be able to show that off on their album covers, but nobody wants it now. I just kind of love him. He's great.
I do too.
Yeah, what else in that last workout? I mean, we didn't really get to see too much of them. I think the person we saw the most of was David.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, I do give it to them because it's hard to be on those treadmills and have a coach in front of you and just say, keep running. Oh, go to level 5, go to level 6, go to level...
And you can't stop.
I don't even want to do it.
I know.
I don't.
I was telling McKenzie while we were watching this, I feel lucky that I haven't lost control of my weight or something like that. I do feel lucky in that sense. But I also feel very lazy when I watch the show because you see people that, are twice your size, 3 times your size, doing stuff that maybe you haven't even pushed yourself to do. And I think the key to this show and just such a big lesson is that most of us, we don't know our potential. Nobody really knows their own potential, and most of us don't have somebody there pushing us to it. We really have to depend on ourselves to find our potential, and these contestants, they have somebody telling them they can do it when they don't think they can, and they have to do it, and they can cry their way through it. They can vomit. They can do whatever they need to do, but they get through it, you know?
Truthfully, this is my take on it. I think that there isn't a point. I think it's unlimited. I think it's
Yeah.
mind over matter. You get through it. Your body isn't going to stop working for you.
Right.
You know, it's mind over matter. They're throwing up because they're letting their mind get the best of them. And that's how
Well,
it is.
and they are also purging a lot of the toxicity that's in their body. I mean, it
Yeah,
is a
and when-
physical thing in that sense, but you're right. Like, they can keep going. Nothing will stop them but their mind.
Yep.
You know, you're totally right. But doesn't that make you realize what you haven't pushed yourself to do?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been up running every morning,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I do like a mile and a half.
I
wanna
would,
do, like,
for me, I
5.
would take it beyond the realm of that. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
here's the thing: if you are an American and you don't have a weight issue, then congratulations. But
Right.
guess what? You know, you don't have to feel lazy that you don't run every day because you're doing something right already. But guess what? Push
Yeah.
yourself in every aspect of your life to do better in all those different things.
Mhm.
Not just I have to run 8,000 miles a day. That's not
Right.
the end all be all. Again, sports is a metaphor for life, much like movies are a metaphor, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And this is that. So I don't think the goal is necessarily, if you're watching Biggest Loser and you are of healthy weight, yeah, you know what, stay healthy,
Mm-hmm.
maybe jog a little bit, but the goal is not to now all of a sudden do 8, Ironman races.
I agree with you. I don't think you need to push yourself to an extreme, but I think it's just eye-opening when you realize, like, I can do that, or I can do something that you usually think you can't. I don't know.
But at the same time,
That's my thought.
it's you need at least, what is it, a half hour or hour of exercise a day. And even if you are healthy,
Yeah.
do 2 hours. Why not? You don't have time.
Or not even the time. I'm thinking like the strength, you know what I mean? Or just your endurance when you feel like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I can't do that.
Well, that's when you
to
grow.
push yourself.
That's when you grow.
Exactly.
That's the amount of time is when you grow. It's called something. My
You
boyfriend.
think about that.
Evolution?
No, it's when when you're weightlifting. My boyfriend does it, and he says like that last,
Big Daddy Rocks?
Oh, like
What
that last
that-
like push.
the one
kind
you
of,
need to do. That's the one that gets your muscles big.
It's all right.
I'm not.
We'll
by
figure that
any
out.
means.
I think he just screamed Big Daddy Rocks every
Sure.
time.
Yeah. So getting totally off topic. Now we can bring this back and we go into our first weigh-in.
Yeah.
Which is a really big moment.
That's where I wanted to like break down and cry for everybody because it was so emotional.
During the weigh-in or before?
Both. I don't. The whole thing.
whole
Maybe
episode?
the whole thing.
Biggest Loser tends to do that. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm just a big baby, maybe.
Yeah. We learned though, going into this weigh-in, I don't know what I think about it just yet. I might like it for this particular episode, but we learned that for the first time ever, the trainers have the ability to do a trainer save. So if you have a contestant that's about to be eliminated, you have the option to stop that from happening. But I love it because Jillian turns around and tells her team right away, do not depend on me to do that because
I will not save you.
more than likely, I probably won't do it.
Yeah.
And she's right. I think she means that. And I kind of feel like it's a good thing because I do think there are times when, no, that person needs to be there. You cannot let them go. And that's a really heartbreaking aspect of the show. But I also feel like, I don't know if this is a good thing because it puts those trainers in the position of making this decision again. Like, how do you say no to somebody that still needs to be on this journey?
Yeah. And you said, even when they first brought that out, you said, don't you think everybody's going to save them the first time? They haven't even been through anything
Yeah.
yet.
That's why I like that decision for this episode because I just feel like I think the show could be even greater if everybody started off with like 2 weeks or 3 weeks and then the first elimination maybe happened after the third week where you really got to see their potential or their commitment level, and then maybe whoever's going home, maybe they deserve it at that point. But I feel like in the first week, a lot of times your weight loss isn't such a reflection of your work. Like your body's just kicking into gear. It might, some people lose weight faster than others. So I just feel like in the first episode, it's really hard.
Yeah.
So I liked it for this particular episode. So we go into the weigh-in. And without going down the line of what everybody lost, I think some of the big mentions on the blue team, we have, who lost the most? I guess it was Matt. Matt lost 23 pounds. But we saw some good numbers. Bobby lost 20. So that brought their total to 88 pounds. They lost 5%, a little bit over 5%. So we go into the red team, which I kind of had a lot of faith in because Delvette's such a motivational speaker. I felt like his team kind of came in really
Strong.
Motivated. Yeah. Ruben lost 21,
Great.
which is really great, right? Who else was
Rachel was up there with them, 21.
Rachel was up there with them, 21. She cried. Tanya didn't pull one of the biggest numbers, but, you know, for a woman, she lost 16 pounds, which is good. But you know what? I loved her in this moment. She broke down to tears, and she said, you know, she wanted to thank Delvette, and she just said, thank you so much for picking me. What you saw in me or what you see in me, I now see in myself. And she's like, game on. And I loved her for that. Yeah. I'm just loving her so far. So she was, she had a really good moment up there on her way in. Then we go into the white team.
Well, what about?
Oh gosh, how could I forget?
It was like the big moment. David.
Totally missed that.
I'm like, wait, where's that? You're gonna like surprise it?
No teasing. Here you go.
David lost 38 pounds.
I know.
That is just.
I think Jillian was stunned.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, everybody was stunned, but I think maybe Jillian even more so because he walked out on her on that very first day.
Well, this is what I was going to say before. This is where it kicked it in for me about David was that he lost almost 40 pounds, and now he's a believer in himself, and that's all you need. You need that little bit, that little spark for you to just believe in yourself. I did it once. I'm going to do it again. You know, I want 60 this week, you know?
But isn't it, I loved what happened with him too, and this is just like Delvette. You just want to like record him, and he could be like your alarm clock in the morning, and he can be like the message you play for yourself when you're having a bad day. But David was so proud of that moment, and he's like, that's a step. He's all, that's a good step for me. You know, that's one step. And Delvette was like, no, David, that is a leap. And he was
Baby
so
brother.
Right.
Baby brother.
No, that's what he said to Ruben.
Was it?
Yeah, that's what he said to Ruben.
Well, I love
Either
that.
way,
It was
I love that. That was a cute moment too. But I love that Delvette was like, no, like he was kind of downplaying it a little bit. He's like, okay, yeah, I lost 40 pounds. He was proud of himself. He, you know, pushed himself to do it. But he's like, that's a step. Delvette's like, no.
And not only did he lose 38 pounds, but that was by a long shot the most weight anybody had lost that day. And just thinking back at that later, he must just be thrilled, you know, with himself.
Everybody was stunned. Everybody was just shocked. I mean, in a very good way. Not that they couldn't believe it, but that's the thing about these first weigh-ins. People step up there. You don't know if they've lost 5 pounds. You don't know if they've lost 40. When he stood up there, he looked no different to me than when we saw him 45 minutes before in the very beginning of the episode. So, I mean, pulling a number like that is just insane. It's amazing. So the red team weighed in at they had lost a total of 107 pounds, 6.45%. So they already are safe because they beat the blue team at this point.
Yeah.
Then there's the white team. The kind of, I don't want to call them the underdogs just yet, but right now they're the team that's a little bit less noticeable. I think.
And I mean, they made David seem the whole episode. Didn't you think that he was the underdog and he wasn't, you know?
I don't know if I thought he was the underdog, but I felt like he was someone clearly to pay attention to because he did make this big promise to his wife and he made this promise to himself. And sometimes people, like you said, can use that and push themselves further, or sometimes they break. Sometimes that's too much pressure. They don't like it and they just give up because they don't want to fail. So I think he was someone to pay attention to for that reason. It's like, is he going to succeed or is he going to walk out and quit?
Yeah, they set him up to go either way.
Yeah.
You know, because he was the last one. And that's what we were talking about, too. When they're the last one on the team, they make or break the whole team pretty much, which is so sad.
Which is just a matter of order. Because really, if you put Tanya lasts, there's going to be a certain amount of weight that they're going to say, you need to lose this much.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your team doesn't win. When realistically, it is a cumulative effort here. So if David didn't pull the weight he needed to, it's really not his fault, even though they make it seem that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a big moment.
But what I did realize about this show that I really love and this game show, in a whole, was that when David did, it came up that he lost 38 pounds and everybody was just like pretty much in tears almost, like so happy for him. And it's just awesome because nobody's trying to win millions of dollars. No one's trying, I mean, I don't know, do they?
Yeah. Well, they win $250,000.
Okay, well, anyway, I didn't even know that.
But you're right. I mean, I know where you're going with this.
They're
Go
all
ahead.
here for the same reason, to lose the weight, and they all just need to, like, they all root each other on. They don't need to, but they do, and they want each other to succeed, and it's so great to see.
Yeah.
Love it.
No, I mean, you're totally right. And I feel like people that come on the show, they don't come, you never, ever hear any contestant say how much they need that money. Not once. It's always about, I need this chance at life. I need to take care of my daughter. I need to fix this. I need to be a role model. I need to get my life back. There's all these things I can't do. I need my health back.
Because no matter what, they take away they take home something, and it's part of themselves. It's a second chance. It's a new them,
life.
whatever. Yeah.
Life,
Yeah.
So you're right. I mean, it's a game, which is unfortunate. I feel like that's always kind of the thing that it's like
Throws you
it just
off, kind of?
takes you back and forth. Like it kind of tugs at you a little bit because everybody there is fighting for themselves. And you're right. They all want each other to succeed. They're not hoping. I mean, yeah, when it comes to the point it's either them or somebody else, they obviously want to beat that person out and lose the most weight. But they are always rooting for each other, and they're always, trying to be a team. Sometimes there are people that don't get along, but they're not competing for money. A lot of times you don't even feel like they're competing at all.
Yeah, I would never even guess. And I love how they don't open with that,
Yeah.
America's Next Top Model, you're going to win a contract with Next or whatever it is. They don't open with, you're going to win $250,000 if you lose this weight,
Yeah.
You're going to get your life back.
I think it's
chance.
$250,000. It's something. See, that's the thing. They don't focus on it enough
We
to
don't even
know.
Yeah.
And I watch the season every season.
15 times.
I know. So we get into the white team's weigh-in. Some of the bigger numbers here. Jay, he loses 23 pounds.
Yeah. Great.
Everybody else kind of pulls these, numbers. Toomey loses 14, Fernanda 12, Craig 13. Craig, that was a hard moment because, again, he is the, like we're saying, the last people that step onto the scale are put, this pressure is put on them to lose a certain amount of weight. So that was the situation with Craig. He had to lose, I think it was 19 pounds, and he lost 13. And, of course, he's devastated, and he cries.
When that moment happened, I felt like I was him standing there, and you could see his tears, and then they showed, like, a picture of his daughter, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, he's seriously going to go home right now?
Welcome to The Biggest Loser, McKenzie.
My gosh,
this is
not,
how it is.
This is not.
Isn't it horrible?
It's so
heartbreaking.
We're gonna come on here, people. We're gonna come here next week, bawling our eyes out.
It happens all the time. Yeah.
Great.
No, you're totally right, and that's why I was like, she can't let him go. She cannot let him go. I know Jillian's tough. I know she's a hard ass, but there's no way.
She's not stupid.
Oh no, she's not stupid at all. But I mean, Craig needed it. They all need it. So of course, Jillian pulls the big save. And she pointed it out. She's like, you know what? That number is not at all a reflection of any shortcomings or a reflection of the work that you've put in. Like, she knows he deserves it. She knows he needs that second chance. I just feel like 1 week does not give anybody enough time to really prove anything.
True. But at the same time, it is still a game show. So
Exactly.
somebody needs to go home. But I'm
not
so,
this week.
No. Not
Thank
this
God.
week. Thank God.
So Jillian saves him. Thank goodness.
We're happy for a week.
Yeah, so now let's get into some predictions.
All right.
I like predictions.
See.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I like your dances.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so I know it's early. We're going to see these contestants go up and down throughout the entire season. What we say now will probably change very soon.
Yep.
But first impressions are a big one. Who do you think so far, based on who you see, who do you feel like is a strong contestant that you see is going to go really far? The farthest. If you could say this person's going to go the farthest. Not win. I think it's too soon to do that.
Okay, well, based on, athletic ability and the history we know about these people, it's going to be, I'm confused about the names, but the Olympic
Weightlifter, Holley.
Because it's a given. She she lifts those. How do you do that? And have that mentality. You have to. But then again,
but at the same time, people that do that, they put on a lot of weight. Like when she was a weightlifter, an Olympic weightlifter, she was not thin. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, you know that she has that reach in her, and she can.
She has that discipline. And that mindset, that athletic mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So
with you.
I think she'll be somebody to watch. But now that we just talked about it, I loved Craig, and I really think he's gonna do good. Especially this shock, this ending, and I think it's just gonna. They all need a little wake-up call, I feel like, and it gave it to him, which I think was great.
Yeah.
So I'm glad about that. And I think Craig will do good.
You're right. He was right when Jillian saved him. He's like, I'm going to work so hard for you day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he felt like he owed her everything. It was really cute. I'm going to say I totally agree with you in terms of athletic ability. I feel like athletes always do well in this competition because they've been there before. They have this spark of motivation. I think they want that. They want their old self back.
And they have,
Yeah,
definitely. That's what it is. But they also have to live up to that. She's on here with pictures of her lifting up these big things, and she's saying, I'm going to teach Bob, a few things about this, and she has to live up to that, kind of. There's a little bit of an expectation there.
So with that, I'm going to say Rachel's going to do really well.
Okay.
She's a swimmer.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. I got my eye on my girl, Tanya.
I knew you were going to say that.
I do. I just love her. And I'm convinced by her motivation. She feels so deeply for her daughter. She feels so deeply for herself and what she, ultimately has put her daughter through. She's got this hot crush for Dolvett, which will only work in her favor. It will make her run just a little bit faster on that treadmill, hopefully. And when she got up and weighed in and she said to Dolvett, I see now what you see in me, game on. When she said that, I believed her.
Yeah.
Completely. So I'm going to pull for her, and I'm going to hope that Ruben does really well because I do love him. But
He just has that energetic and just that personality.
I want to see Chelsea do really well, too. 28-year-old on the Blues team that we don't really see too much of. And, it's going to be really interesting because, like we said, there's a lot of contestants that we have not yet learned their story. So the Sob Fest is not over. It will continue. There are stories that we haven't heard, and there's probably a reason. A lot of these people that we haven't learned of yet, they're probably these, silent killers.
Yeah.
They're probably monsters in the gym that we don't know about
We don't
yet.
know anything about them, so.
Yet to see.
Yep.
So I think that really wraps up our episode. That's our premiere, you guys.
Geez, that flew by.
I know.
Gosh.
Until next week, you can follow me on Twitter at @LO_VALLES. And McKenzie.
You can follow me on Twitter at McKenzie Fayne.
And that wraps it up. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Thank you.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.